Start live.
All right, I think we're live now.
Yes, now we're live.
Yes, we are.
Okay. How you doing, Sharik?
I'm amazing. It's another
It
Thursday.
is. It is. And we've got some interesting things to talk about today, as we always do.
Of course.
And let's just get this started.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Step into the limelight.
What's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. Are we everybody can hear us? We're good. We're good on all our boards and all the
Oh, are we? Oh,
are we good?
now
Are
they
we
can
on?
hear
We're
us.
good. We're good.
Now we're good. Now we're good.
Just checking, making sure everybody is paying attention. Welcome to Limelight Live. I am your girl, Sharik LeMay, and we have the wonderful hostess.
J Pink K, you already know.
You already know what it is. And wow, so much to talk about.
Yes.
It's only been a week since I've seen you last.
It. Oh, yeah.
Only a
And
week.
so much has happened.
I know.
I know it's crazy because I feel like today could have been a good week for us to have our lights on week.
Right, right. Because we
But
did
we're
that
gonna
last week.
minimize it because we do have a guest and we have a really cool topic to talk about. But yeah,
Yes, I'm excited about this topic. But how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good.
Have you been?
Still embracing the lovely Virgo season. I'm gonna wear my chain every day until my birthday, which is coming up on the 20th.
Oh, any
Yes.
plans? Any plans? Well, I
Yes.
already know what your plans
So
are.
last year I did a kickball tournament. We were still smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. I was like, okay, what could I do that could be fun but outdoors and
Mm-hmm.
still kind of safe? And a friend of mine was like, why don't you do a kickball tournament? And I was like, wow, that sounds actually really fun. And it's not a contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we went to Sherman Oaks and I had this kickball tournament and everybody was so enthusiastic. It was a really fun day. It was probably one of my best birthdays.
That's the nice way of saying everybody was on some other stuff.
Basically, they took it really serious,
Real
and
serious.
it was it was a thing.
I have to say, two people that are currently in the building, which
Hmm.
were champions. They
Yeah.
were quite intimidating,
Oh yeah.
I must say.
I've had matter of fact, I sent out my
Three people
invites.
actually.
I
Mika's
sent out
here
my
too.
invites to people from last year, and I've
Uh-huh.
had a couple requests like, "Oh, make sure I'm on Nisha's team." I was like, first of all, I'm not even gonna pick the teams. I'm gonna put them in. I'm gonna have somebody else pick it, but whatever.
I'm
But
gonna win this year. I don't care what
okay.
nobody say.
Well, I'm doing it again this year, and I'm really excited. So that's what's
Shout out
happening.
to all the big kids out there.
Yes.
Yes. And then also shout out to, everybody was celebrating Beyonce's birthday. She just turned 40.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
I know.
B is
B40.
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 It's just all the tributes and everything just came pouring in. I was like, dang, everybody
Yeah.
loves Beyonce. I
I
can
think
see you
I
guys,
I
Virgos.
saw her publicist did a really dope post for
Mm,
her, and I was like, okay, just me coming from PR and understanding what she is, and she's been working with Beyonce since she was 15. So it was
mm-hmm,
like really just kind of like, dang, like that she's one of the top in the game just for
mm-hmm.
working with her.
I love it.
So
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But unfortunately, in other news, we can't, start this without, giving a special rest in peace to Michael K. Williams. Wow, just even saying it, it just my
Yeah.
feelings are really hurt. I
Yeah.
really grew attached to a lot of his characters, especially for those who followed him since The Wire.
Hmm.
Even more recently, you know how much I loved Lovecraft
It
Country.
was my favorite thing on
And
TV.
me too. And we
Yeah.
talked about how disappointed I was that it wasn't coming back.
Right.
Just how disappointed even more I would have been had it been supposed to come back and he wasn't going to be a part of it. But I knew
Yeah.
he had another group of projects that he was working on and was excited about. So, and not to sound selfish or anything, but that was his passion. I know that it was something that he loved to do. So I don't know. I feel cheated. A lot of us do.
Yeah, it's really tragic. I mean, the amount of outpouring and love that he got in regards to people like just, paying tribute to him and seeing how much of a great guy that he was and how talented he was. He was loved. He was
Yeah.
loved in the industry, and it's so tragic because he was a young man, and again, so talented. I would have loved to see more from him. I loved him on Lovecraft Country,
Right.
and just what he brought to that character and to the
Hmm.
story overall.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
It's one of those things. It's like he's your favorite actor's favorite actor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you just saw just the outpouring of love
Yeah.
that came from
From
just
directors, producers,
everyone.
yeah.
Everyone, and it just was so unexpected, and I just get chills because I remember him doing the tribute to DMX
hmm
when he did, one of DMX's songs, and it was just so powerful. I was like, oh, he was the perfect person to do that,
Yeah.
and he just really carried that, embodied that, like that New York street creativity.
Right.
He just really embodied it, and it really hurts, and
Yeah.
just to know that he was struggling,
Yeah.
I think is the part that really hurts
Right.
even more. And
Yeah.
then, I know technically we're already in our flashlight topic. Sorry. This is our flashlight, our number one flashlight topic.
Yeah. Well, we had to go. We
had to get into it.
Yeah.
Had to get into it. Definitely want to shine light on him. And I think just constantly scrolling and looking at different articles, and I didn't know he was a backup dancer for Genuine.
What?
You didn't know that?
No.
He was a backup dancer for Genuine. As well as Crystal Waters. He was in the video 100%.
I'm weak.
Yes.
I'm weak, but you know what? And he was a big like house music fan, so that doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just so crazy how once people leave, that's when you start finding out all this stuff.
Right.
Like that makes me love him even more. Just
That's
as a
insane.
former dancer myself,
Yeah.
like just to know that he went through that whole trajectory of being a background dancer, and
Right.
being an actor, and he got his first role on a movie with Tupac. And Tupac actually handpicked him for the role. Like,
Yeah.
I like the scar on his face. He looks gangster. Like I want
Yeah.
him. So just learning all of these different things that he did and how it propelled him and how he kept propelling others. It's amazing, man. So, definitely sad.
Rest in peace, MKW.
Yeah. Also too, because we also lost a handful of comedians here
Oh
in
yeah.
Los Angeles
Oh yeah.
due to this fentanyl
Yeah.
crisis.
So what it was 3 comedians, and I'm gonna pull up their names right now. But 3 comedians, they basically were doing coke, but that coke was laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
how you say it. Their names were.
I know one was Fuquan, who was pretty popular.
I screenshotted this earlier. Okay, so yeah, Fuquan Johnson, and then comedian Kate Quigley,
Mhm.
and then there was someone else. Oh, no, that's the 2 that I have. The 2 names that I have.
So there were 3 that actually passed
Yeah.
away, and then one that it was
Ricky Angeli and Natalie Williamson.
Yes.
They're the ones. They died at a Venice, California house party over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was them 2, along with comedian and television writer Fuquan Johnson.
Yeah.
And they ingested cocaine that was laced with the powerful painkiller fentanyl, which, if you don't know anything about fentanyl, I mean, it's extremely addicting, but it's also very much plaguing a lot of communities.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people are dying from it.
Yeah.
Because they can't get off of it. And it's a killer.
And it's only, from what I saw, it's only just a pinch
Mm-hmm.
that could be put into whatever it is that you're ingesting, and that can just be completely detrimental. And it's so sad because, I think a lot of people are judging and saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing blah, 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 blah,
Right.
which to each his own. I don't do that stuff.
Right.
But, I feel
you
like,
indulge in what you indulge in, but like,
be careful. But,
Mhm.
I don't think that was their intention, obviously.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So then it leads you to wonder, like, are people preying on creatives? Are people, like, what do these drug dealers get out of it? I know specifically for Michael K. Williams' situation, they're saying that they're actually trying to track down the person who sold him the drugs that they found
Mhm.
in his apartment. It's just, I don't know. This is just so crazy to me. And, it happened to Mac Miller. It happened to, just so many others. And I don't understand why we can't get a grip on it.
Yeah.
It's just so disturbing.
It is disturbing. Talk to me, because there was an article that came out in Men's Health regarding Michael K. Williams,
Yeah.
and something called trauma coordinators.
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting. So upon me, doing a lot of my research and just kind of, digging more into who he was as a person and as an artist, he spoke a lot about his trauma.
Mhm.
And I think, like we said, we really love Lovecraft Country, but Lovecraft Country really brought a lot of demons out of him, or really brought him to a place that was difficult for him to deal with. And he spoke about it. And one thing, one of the interviews that I did catch, they basically asked him about trauma coordinators.
Mm.
So I didn't know that they have actual trauma coordinators that are a part of a lot of these productions that deal with trauma.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really well. Actually, they have no. I'm sorry. They're asking about trauma coordinators. They have intimacy coordinators for sex scenes.
Mhm.
Did you know about that?
No.
So they have intimacy coordinators for sex scenes, right? So I guess
I think Anisha's going to give us insight to that later.
so I didn't know that that was a thing,
Yeah.
right? And then someone said, okay, well, if you have intimacy coordinators, should there be trauma coordinators?
Yeah.
Should there be trauma coordinators?
I don't see why not, especially if it's like maybe you're doing something that might trigger something
Right,
outside of set that like,
right.
you know, you have to face a certain demon while you're playing a character, but really that's something that you might be dealing with internally.
Right. And I mean, you think about his character, you know, he played the father who basically he killed one of the spirits. I remember that.
Mhm.
He also was hiding his sexuality. He was
Mhm.
dealing with his sexuality.
Yeah.
His brother died. You know, his character dealt with a lot.
Mhm.
And I saw an interview with him specifically, and he just like broke down crying. You know,
Mhm.
the whole cast was. And I'm like, wow, like I've done a little bit of acting, but I've never done anything that deep.
Mhm.
You know, so I can't even imagine being put in a position where I'm embodying this particular character to the point where it really weighs down my spirit. And I
Right.
do know that he was going to therapy. But I just thought that was really interesting that someone said, okay, if we have intimacy coordinators, should we have trauma coordinators, especially with a lot of these traumatic topics that they're dealing with more recently in terms of race,
Yeah.
and shit, just race
Yeah.
and sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, it's deep, it's
Yeah.
heavy. And one thing I would say I love about him is if you watch The Wire, he did play, you know, a gay man on The Wire.
Mhm.
He played a gay man on Lovecraft Country, and he owned it. You know, he
Mhm.
was okay with it, and he wasn't. It wasn't the whole thing with his character. It wasn't all his character was about.
Mhm.
You know, his character was still a man. His character was still authentic. You know, and he had all these other traumas that he was dealing with at the same time. So I don't know. There's just so much to unpack here.
Right.
And I think trauma coordinators would be a great thing.
Yeah.
Where would we find them?
I don't know. It almost sounds like they're like therapists to have on set.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dangerous though at the same time.
At the same time.
On set?
I don't know.
We'll have to talk to an expert about that.
Yeah.
But let us know what you guys think. If you think, you know, maybe even some of these shows might be going a little too far. Maybe sometimes, you know, do you think it may be the responsibility of the producers or the directors to see, okay, this actor, this actress is really struggling with this particular thing? Maybe because
Yes, I think so. I mean, yes, you're there to play a role, and obviously, you know, you got to dive into that character, but you know, they are still a person outside, and they have to live with themselves outside of the production. So, I do think that it's important to have conversations with the talent and see, you know, what are you comfortable with? What does any of this like really unnerve you? You know, that isn't to me that's very important.
Yeah.
Like with any job.
Yeah. But you know, rest in peace to all of those who we lost this last week. Yeah, it's just a really sad week. I don't want to be so sad.
I know.
During our flashlight topics.
I know. Let me move on to this one thing. Okay, so okay. So you know that like fashion company Shine or Shane?
Shein.
Is it Sheen?
Shein.
SHEIN, right?
What do you guys say? Shein?
Sheen, Shine, Shane.
Child, we don't shop there. Shein. Okay.
So if you haven't heard of them, I don't know where you've been because like if you're on social media, their ads are everywhere. And I've been on their site. I've shopped with them. You know, this is another fast fashion brand. That's mostly a digital platform. I've shopped with them. They have really nice stuff and it's always pretty inexpensive and they ship
Cheap.
pretty quickly too.
Cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap. Actually, I went on vacation and I bought half of my wardrobe from them. You know, I was like, man, this stuff is cute and it's quick. It came back, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they've turned into a big giant in the fashion world as a fast fashion giant, and they've become one of the largest online only retailers in the world. In July this year, in July this year, the app became the most downloaded with over 17.5 million downloads across Google Play and Apple stores. But why does their rapid growth have sustainability experts so concerned? Well, if you didn't know this, that fashion industry is basically plagues the environment the worst. It's the worst in regards to pollution and carbon pollution and all that. But it turns out they are churning out about 35,000 units a day.
Like they're making it.
Yes.
Okay.
35,000 garments, like pieces of garment a day to be consumed.
Where?
Right. Well, they're producing in China, they produce in rather they manufacture. They
Mhm.
manufacture dominantly in China. Um but they've already surpassed, retailers like Zara and H&M in regards to
Their output and their
yes,
sales.
exactly.
And they're with Afterpay.
Right. So listen, the convenience is there. And what happens is when so many people are onto this thing, it's like, they've blown up so much. So now they're racing to manufacture and meet the needs of the demand because they've got the TikTok influencers involved. They've got these things called I think Sheen boxes or Sheen hauls. And so you get this
Oh,
box of Sheen products and they, promote it on their pages and like this is funny because it's so relatable to our spotlight topic later.
Yes, of course.
But and so there's this huge blow up of it. And so now they're like I just said, they're like the top online retailer. And a lot of eco experts are saying how they're actually pretty bad for the environment.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it to you too when you brought up this topic to me. I was like, well, fast fashion say that 10 times. Fast fashion. Fast fashion has become such a thing. And like you said, this definitely ties into our topic tonight. But I think who is it? Jaden Smith, and Levi is trying to do like this whole campaign against
Yeah.
fast fashion and saying, get good quality jeans so you don't have to buy 10 pairs of jeans every month, like
Mhm.
instead of, throwing things away. Cause I mean, y'all ladies, especially, y'all get these cheap jeans and then maybe like 3, 4, 5 months later, you got the hole on the
Yeah.
inner thigh,
Right.
and
And
then you got to throw them away.
this is a fact. The average consumer throws away 60% of new clothes in the same year they were bought.
Wow.
That's a lot of clothes.
Wow.
Like that's a lot.
I mean, I donate them, but
Right.
I'm sure that some of them end up in the dump anyway. And
Yeah.
it's definitely not. I mean, but what can we do?
I don't know. We need to the fashion industry as a whole, and this is for me, I have a degree in fashion. Like this, I studied. I've been in the industry for years.
Come
So
on,
like,
degree.
I get it. It's like something needs to change in regards to trend as far as sustainability goes in fashion and sustainability.
Yeah.
Because it's always like what's new, what's hip, what's this, especially in fast fashion, where you get a lot of these clothes and they're, pretty inexpensive and then they're throwaway fashions because you're moving on to the next thing. And then again, these manufacturers are just moving to keep to meet the needs of the demand.
Right.
And so because the demand is consistently there, I mean, we're seeing an increase every year of carbon emissions because of the fashion industry.
Right. And it's both because they're making it and then we're throwing it away.
Right.
And it's not, it doesn't decompose.
Mhm.
So that's why I really, shout out to some of our, our friends. I know we have Manny from the Gents Closet, or Thread House rather.
Yeah.
He likes to take garments and create hats or create different pieces. Yeah, shout out to the folks.
Yeah.
Those that are, recycling these things and like making it new and,
Right.
and fresh. And, I really love the whole movement. What's his name? I'm gonna pop some tags. What's his name?
I forgot his name.
Oh, we have a thumbs down.
But when he was promoting the whole go to the thrift store,
The
and
thrift
it's
store
like,
culture, but y'all, I went into the thrift store on Melrose the other day. They had some hats in there for $500. For what?
What? Oh, but you must have been like to like the higher end one, like Jet Rag or something like that.
No, it wasn't even. It looked like a basic hat.
And
Like
it was $500?
dingy. It was $500. Shoes, everything in there was like.
Did like a celebrity bring it in or something?
I don't know, but it's so ridiculous.
Did Tom Cruise wear this hat? I'm confused. Okay.
It's so crazy.
I cannot.
I don't get it, but I know it's an issue, and then, like I said, we're going to get into the whole influencer culture thing, but now people think like if you wear something twice, you're just a bum,
That's laughable, but it's true. It's true.
I'm guilty. I don't want to be, I can't be, I mean, I can, but I don't feel right posting multiple pictures of myself.
I
in the
wore
same
this
outfit.
shirt so many times. I just wear it a little different every time I wear it. You just got to be innovative with your clothing. And I think that's the thing, and which adds to the whole influencer thing of like, okay, what's new, what's fresh. I always have to come out with something new and fresh. And it's like, I think if if one, the fashion industry and then the influencers who help push it, if they reframed their thinking or the way that they create the content to make sustainability and to make eco-friendly content or
Yeah.
stuff that pushes something that pushes that narrative, I think maybe there could be a shift
Or
because I think it's just gonna get worse.
maybe if Sheen created some sort of system where you can send stuff back and then they can recycle it.
Maybe, or maybe some program dedicated to, giving clothes to people in marginalized communities or third world countries. I don't know. The need is there.
Sounds like you guys need some diversity and inclusion experts such as ourselves to come in there and help you with this issue because it's quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
Fail.
Shameless plug.
Wait, so does this mean we can't shop there no more?
No.
We cannot. Okay.
No, that does not mean. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I say let's just be more conscious.
You're right.
Me personally, I have about 3 or 4 bags in my living room as we speak.
No, ma'am.
That I'm about to donate to the women's shelter in Los Angeles.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
But we need
Good.
to have we need an appointment.
That.
We need an appointment now.
Mm-hmm.
In order to go donate to the. I don't know if you guys have ever been downtown to LA to the district, but they're a little picky down there too.
Mm.
But I try to support and still make sure you're giving people socks and underwear.
Yes.
But you can't just be giving the Goodwill anything. And that's another thing on the Goodwill. They had to put out statements saying that people have literally been giving them trash. And then that causes them and their workload to be even more extreme. So please make sure if you guys are donating,
donate good stuff.
Donate the good stuff.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And don't feel all good about yourself for giving people stuff that they can't wear. So, but I was going to say, shameless plug for those who are watching. I have, if you guys are wondering about my shirt, it says "Stop Selling Grandma's House." Make sure you guys are heading over to shop our creative merch on lamayday.com. It is sustainable. You can wear it more than once. This particular shirt is going to be dropping very soon. It is in conjunction with an up-and-coming project about gentrification and generational wealth.
That's right.
So head on over there.
You stay doing something.
I just had to put it out there.
You stay doing something. And for our last flashlight of the night, I know my millennials are definitely going to relate to this one as nostalgic as it is. Do you know entertainment companies and production companies that they do this thing where it's called nostalgia marketing, particularly to the millennial group, because they know that we're the generation that's most attached to our childhood. And so that's why we have this endless amount of reboots of things that come back out into resell stuff. And Nick Jr. decided to for the 25th anniversary of the release of Blue's Clues, released a video of the original Steve.
Well, he's the only Steve.
Well, right. Well, yes. Basically had him come back and talk to us. They released this video, and basically he spoke to us directly and said how, there was a day when we were watching TV and he left. He went to college and he approached it in a way of like, this happened and let's talk and deal with it. And he checked in with us, and I mean, like, I must say, I got emotional. Like, legit, I got emotional. I was like, man, I remember that day. Like, as a kid, like, Blue's Clues was a thing. Like, there were moments in Blue's Clues, they were events. Like when Salt and Pepper had Paprika, like they was inviting us into the family.
They did have a little baby.
Yes.
Salt and Pepper was shaking it.
Right. And so they did that for us. We are grown. Shut up.
Just
I do not like you right now.
Just saying. I forgot about that.
Salt and Pepper were shaking. They were shaking it. Stupid. Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, it was. Anyways, crazy. And so it just, to me, that was pretty dope. I get to see him talk to us, and it was also a very positive thing. And I think it's probably something that grown-ups now could share with their kids.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, and I wrote this on Facebook, I was like, anybody born before 1990? I don't know, because Blue's Clues got on my nerves. I'm not gonna lie.
I love Blue's Clues, and I was too old to be watching it.
I think I was older.
I was too old.
I have a little sister. And she was addicted to it. So that's probably why it got on my nerves so much.
Yeah.
And Steve was just like, You know, like I don't know. Steve just got on my nerve. But needless to say, I thought it was very touching and I thought it was very sweet. And he acknowledged the fact that we all done been through some stuff. Like
Yeah.
Steve looked like he been through some struggles.
Yeah.
And I respected it. He was like, no, what was the comments were what really threw me because they were like, oh yeah, Steve, you know, everybody knew Steve had a drug problem. Like Steve acted like he went on a bus.
Right. And he went to college.
Steve went to college. But I thought it was good that he acknowledged, you know, the fact that we've gone through things. We've started families. Now we have student debt. You know, like, I'm like, where was the clue about that? You know, like we didn't know about that.
We didn't get that clue.
That was definitely not in the mail.
Yeah.
You know, if anything I should have gotten from Blue's Clues was to you know, check my letters because I don't.
Right.
Because I'd be having bills.
Right.
You know, but.
Well, what 4-year-old is getting mail?
Well, now they are.
The demographic is 3 to 5, Sharik.
Well, hopefully those 3 to 5-year-olds know to check their mail because you could either be losing some money or losing some money.
Yeah.
So, you know, shout out to the Blues Clues fans out there. Shout out to my little sister. I was not one, but I appreciated it nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I didn't know nostalgia marketing was like an actual thing.
Oh, yes. It's a, yeah.
It makes sense.
Just next time you see stuff, whenever you see another reboot or like a new product that comes back to market, it's because like they understand us.
Yeah.
You know, these marketers, they dive in deep to how the millennial is spending their dollar.
Because we're the top ticket, baby.
Yeah. Well, right now we carry the buying power.
I was looking at a post someone posted, and they said those of us that are born between the years of 1985 to 1995. I actually think it goes a little bit earlier than 85.
I think it's 87.
But this particular post said 85.
Okay.
And they were saying, you know, we're such a unique generation because we were right in the middle. We had the best of both worlds. You know, we knew how to use 8-tracks and tapes and cassette tapes and VHSs. And we also knew how to, you know, do MP3s, and we had the old school MP3 players, and then we had iPods and CDs.
And we saw that phase out.
Yes. So we knew how to work and we know how to maneuver within both generations, and we understand the future as well as the past.
Right.
And so I think it makes a lot of sense that we would be the ones that they generally market to.
Right.
And hopefully most of us have money, you know, so we buy stuff on Shein.com. But I think that's amazing. One that got me for sure was definitely the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion.
Yeah.
I was bawling.
Listen. 5 minutes in, and the rest of the reunion, I did not stop crying.
I was in tears.
I did not stop crying.
So I get it. So for those of you that really like Blue's Clues that much, he's no Fresh Prince, but I get it.
Right. Shout out to the 25th anniversary.
Yes.
And that does it for our flashlights of the week.
Flashing lights.
This is not about Blue. It's about Steve and us.
Parents are really watching Blue's Clues, and the parents should be checking their letter.
Yeah.
He was really being real. He should have just been like,
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are now about to get into our spotlight of the week, and this week, yes, of course. This week we have okay, first off, we're talking about Fake Famous. There's a documentary on HBO called Fake Famous, and it's about influencer and influencer culture. And there was an experiment about basically if you took 3 people who weren't influencers and what would happen if you do, like, what does that look like? And Sharik and I, in our line of work, I mean, I know I personally I've represented influencers. I've helped create influencers in PR and stuff. And there's this interesting dichotomy to how the business model and the influencer are molded together across multiple industries. Influencers, a lot of marketing dollars from a whole bunch of companies go to influencers. They're selling products and they're selling essentially their lives on a public format through social media to get people to buy things. And so I just thought that was a really interesting situation with where we at in a society, and how there are a lot of people who aspire to be this, And one thing about the documentary is that people are when you ask kids 20 years ago what they wanted to do when they grew up, it was like, typical answers like doctor, airplane pilot, just things like that. And now you've got, what am I doing? What? Oh, it's hot in here. And now you've got an entire generation of kids that legitimately say they want to be influencers.
Right.
And so it's like, you got to look at that and see, is that really hurting us? Right. Well, anyways, we have a very special guest on. She's my sister. I love her. She is an actress, stunt woman, and influencer. On social media, people know her as Niche Nation. I know her as Niche, but on paper, she's Anisha Gibbs. Hey.
What's up?
And now Venus just walked in.
Just walked in.
Niche.
Live, baby. What's
I know
up?
she was one of our original guests.
Yeah.
On the old
Always.
school.
Yeah, season one.
Season
Season
one.
one.
Of
She came in
Limelight.
and she made avocado toast.
I did.
Oh, you know what? I have to tell you, I've been making avocado toast like that ever since.
Ever since.
I kid you
gotta
not.
give me the recipe.
It's the
'cause I don't
balsamic
remember.
glaze.
That's right.
It's
That's
the
what listen.
balsamic
That's what
glaze.
gets it.
It's the balsamic
That
glaze.
will with but you gotta with that little sprinkle of salt
Yeah.
on
The
top.
And we
Honey.
bought the good stuff
Baby.
too. I had my cooking show back then. Remember?
Yep.
I think that's
Mhm.
why
Food
we
with
like
friends.
Food with friends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we had a
Mhm.
whole situation.
That was
Look
the
at us
good
full
stuff.
circle.
full circle.
For those of
man.
y'all that don't have the balsamic glaze,
I'm telling you,
Okay.
it is a game. It's not cheap, but it's a game changer. It's like $8
go to Trader
for the
Joe's.
bottle.
Trader Joe's, they got it for the low.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah?
Yeah, at Trader Joe's.
Listen.
Look at my friends.
But no, thank you so much, Niche, for being here. We definitely had to include you in on this topic. You know, speaking of influencers,
Yeah.
we've been, knowing you for a long time, and we've seen your build and your glow on your social media and how you've been able to, get the bag and do your thing and really be out there. So we definitely wanted to have this conversation. And you said you caught a little bit of the Fake Famous documentary.
Yeah, I started watching it because Josh told me to watch it and it was a topic and I was like, I had idea. I said, oh, really? Oh, okay. It was like, I just felt like it put me on a whole nother level of game.
Right.
Just being more on the authentic side of it and more just like, all right, it's happening. Like
Mhm.
I'm a ride with it. If people like what they see, it's nice and
Mhm.
just let it continue doing what it's doing. I'm
Right.
already doing it.
Right.
So
One thing I will say about you, every time I get on, like your face pops up and I'm like, damn, this girl is consistent as hell. And I think that's one of the things that I have to commend these influencers for. 'cause
Right.
Some people may take it lightly, and then that was a part of me watching this documentary. I'm like, wait a minute, these people really work.
Yeah.
This is a job.
Because you're wearing multiple hats. Like
Yeah.
you're a copywriter, you're an editor,
you're a producer.
you're a photographer,
Exactly.
a producer, like
Mhm.
all of those things in one for one post.
Right.
one
Post.
Right.
Yeah. So imagine churning out 3 or 4 of them a day.
How many
Child.
do you do out of curiosity per week, per day?
When things started moving a little fast, I try to do one a day, and then I never like doing. I normally like doing every other day,
Okay.
but I felt there was. I just felt okay with posting once a day. It didn't feel weird to me.
Okay.
So I just continued to do that. And then I was like, well, what if I start posting twice a day? Or what if I start doing like a picture and then a video just to mix it up?
Mm.
So I also did some experimenting as I was posting, or I was like, I'll do a reel and Instagram TV post and see how that works together. And just different things to keep it interesting. And I just, like you said, we wear a lot of hats,
Right.
personally, editing wise, and then as an individual. So if I'm posting in the morning a headshot, later that night I could be posting a big head video, and then the next day I'm posting a stunt video.
I love the big
Yeah.
head video.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
I love them all.
And I've been in her content. Trust me, it is
Yes,
a
I've
production.
seen you.
I was like, listen, when I was in Atlanta with her last time, oh my goodness, it was funny.
Man.
But let's talk about how you came to be in this kind of influencer space, because it's definitely grown. Because
Mhm.
I think your initial audience knows you from dance,
Right.
right? Because you danced and you did choreography,
Mhm,
and then that turned into martial arts,
mhm.
stunt woman, and then acting. And through that, your audience has grown, right? And then you've developed a partnership with Facebook, and now you're verified, and you've worked with some very prominent names. I'm a Halle Berry.
Yeah.
She's double Journey Smollett. You work with prominent names in Hollywood, and I think your trajectory has been something that's been very authentic because you already had an audience that was kind of following you there, and that grew.
Mhm.
So I think you entering the influencer space made sense because there was already a niche there. There's one already not too many stunt women
Mhm.
as there is, but you really utilize that as a platform. So what do you think the difference is between, let's say, someone who's had a trajectory like yours versus I want to be famous, I want to be an influencer, I'm just going to record everything I do for the sake of,
Mm.
like, how healthy does that do you do you think that is for like the normal person?
That's a great question. I just feel like the world is changing. Just like you guys were talking about Sheen earlier, like fast fashion, like people want it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna knock anybody that decides to put that effort to post every day, because it, like you said, it's about that consistency, and not a lot of people are made for it. A lot of people could try to do it,
Mhm.
and everybody can try, but it's that everyday consistency, and something is going to click, something is going to change. And
Mhm.
it's just a drive. It's a drive just like anything else. And that's why, like you said, like the millennials get it. Like we have a little bit of everything. Like we
Mhm.
understand things, because the older generation, I remember just dancing. And when dancing started going online more, and it changed because everybody now has something to say.
Right.
And everybody now has their own lane.
Mhm.
Oh, so you're not going to take me for this audition? Fuck yeah. I'm about to go online and make my own dance video. And
Okay.
if that joint pops off,
Okay.
that's, you can't be upset about that.
Right.
And that's not my fault. And I feel like in the dance world, that's what I noticed that happened. I was like, oh man, like, and it was like, don't go online, don't be an onliner, like that's whack, that's
Mm.
fake, but you're just mad because the world is moving forward
Mhm.
and you're not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In my eyes. And that's with all the industries. Just
Right.
like you said, the fashion industry, this brand out of nowhere was like, you know what, we're gonna do this, and it blew up.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
feel like if people really dedicate their time genuinely and treat it, you almost have to treat it like a job, and it's a responsibility, and people notice and people see, like, if that's what you're trying to do. Like I've had people like, hey, you didn't post today, what's up? And I'm like,
Dang.
I'm like, no, nothing, I'm in bed actually. I'm
Right.
chilling today, like
Right.
I'm not doing much. But
Yeah.
I don't know, some people are just really made for it, and I just feel like the talented people out there that have multiple talents, that can just do a lot
Mhm.
and have a lot to share. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Josh, you have like a million platforms.
I do. I have too many, and then I'm managing others.
Right.
But no, I definitely get that, and I feel like, if it feels authentic, and to me, it's like I'm very much like people who find a niche market, like, a niche audience in regards
Niche.
to right,
Niche.
right, niche. Then it totally makes sense. Like, for example, you have like this huge amount of like food bloggers and food content creators, which I love.
Yeah.
People who just genuinely love to cook, and they want to show you how to cook and how to make different
Mhm.
things, or they want to introduce you to maybe easy vegan recipes, or you want to like diversify your palate through cultural foods or foods around the world. That's just one example.
Yeah.
I think the positive about social media is that it has allowed us to connect to the world in a way that we haven't been able to back in the 90s, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Additionally, something that was pointed out in the documentary that I liked is that another positive thing about social media, it's allowed us to use our voice when it comes to injustices in ways that we never were allowed to do before.
Exactly.
Because you would hear about maybe 1 and 2 stories through the
Yeah.
news when we
Mhm.
were younger, whereas now, as soon as shit pops off,
You hear
listen,
about
it just
all
takes
of
the
them.
right person to
Yep.
retweet it,
Exactly.
post it in their story, and now movements are being made that weren't being made before.
Right.
And so that's where I see like the positives in
Mhm.
social media.
Yeah, because they said the revolution will not be televised.
Right.
But now that shit's on everybody's phone.
Right, exactly.
You
Well, we
know?
don't need it to be
It
televised
doesn't
because
need to be.
exactly, we've got it literally in the palm of my hands. Like,
Exactly.
I can show you
Yeah.
this is going on, and if you create that platform, by all means, like, social media to me is, in that aspect, super super beneficial.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for Niche, because you kind of tiptoed on it a little bit. I know for you, because you really do this. Like, I met you on set. Like you
Mhm.
were dancing. You're a dancer. That's what
Mhm.
you do. This is something that's really authentic to you. Was there ever a point in time, or do you maybe sometimes have that feeling where you see these people that are like coming out doing these dances and they're not real dancers, but now they're like super popping on social media? Do you feel as though I don't want to say it's unfair, or do you feel as though like, wait, you guys are coming into my lane and this is not your lane? Like, did you ever have those feelings? Like, why is this person got 100 million followers and this isn't really what they do? Like, did that ever come across, or do you like, okay, I'm gonna do it too?
Like I said, like in the beginning when I first saw it, and like other dancers would be like the older heads, they'd be like, oh, don't follow that, don't do that. And then I would see it and I would kind of be like, yeah, yeah, fuck that shit. But then I was kind of like, but I like that. That was low key cute though. Like, all right, fine. And then I just started becoming attracted to it. And I just personally don't, if y'all want to if whoever wants to get these followers, and like, it does sometimes, like, you're like, damn, like, how this little girl that went like this got that, but she's consistent, so I'll let her do her. And I don't let that distract me, because I know my lane and I know my worth within what I like to do. Yeah. So that's why I've always just done what I do on my page. And if it's your niche, it's my niche. My niche is niche.
Definitely. I think what was really interesting too, and one of the takeaways, if you guys do catch the documentary, and for those of you that are just tuning in, we are referring to Fake Famous, a really awesome documentary that came out this year regarding influencer culture and social media, and how it affects society as a whole, how it affects us mentally, how it affects us buying culture, and just everything that we kind of do worldwide. You know, how has social media become this driving force that affects all of our lives? One of the things that was really interesting, without giving away too much, because I do want you guys to go watch it, was the feeling of the lack of authenticity. Yeah. You know, and just and they call it Fake Famous for a reason. Now, Nisha's real famous because, like I said, she really does this. You know, she's really been a dancer.
It's funny you say it like that, because one of the guys on the thing, he's like, people need to see this.
Right. He was like, I don't want the fake following, you know, and that's the thing that people do. You know, people really are out here buying fake followers. People are buying fake comments. Your favorite celebrity probably has some fake, you know, have some bots.
They call bots.
You know, they're called bots. And then there's the bots, and then they even have bot metrics that you they have bot metrics. So even, you know, I know me and J-Pen, we deal with agencies, you know, a lot of these agencies and people that are employing your favorite influencers.
I've represented I have purchased on their request bot follers and comments and engagement for people in the past.
You haven't bought me nothing.
Listen.
I'm just kidding. I saw that in the show. I was like, wait, they're doing.
But wait, people are even going and checking to see how many real followers and fake followers you have. And now websites are fake.
Yeah.
The websites are
that to me, because that's a tool that I use. I've used that before to see, you know, real engagement and what their audience actually looks like. And, you know, they give you these ratings and they're supposed to be this thing. But when I saw that part, I was like, wait a minute. So do I have an accurate depiction of analytics from, you know, these influencers or potential clients that I'm looking to work with? Now I can't trust it, because I'm like, hold up. Right. Because I thought this resources that I use, I thought they were legit. And now I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And what it really took for me, like the takeaway for me specifically, was a lot of these influencers are literally walking billboards. Yeah. They are walking billboards, you know, which, hey, if that's how you get in your bag, that's how you get in your bag. I'm not mad at that. You know, like I said, they do work hard. But one of the statistics said that there's over 1 million people that have 1 million followers. Yeah. So if there's over 1 million people that have over 1 million followers, are you famous?
Right. Are you really famous?
Are you really famous?
Right.
You know, I don't have 1 million followers. That'll be great one day, you know, but, you know, at the same time, it's like, is that really the peak? Like, have you really made it? Like, is that really a thing now? You know, so it's just, the whole dichotomy of it is just really interesting. And just to see, like you said, little kids, you know, instead of saying, I want to be a singer, dancer, or whatever, they want to be influencers. And I personally am disturbed at times when I see these babies with the glasses and the Fashion Nova jackets and the posing. And me personally, I don't like that. Like, give your child an actual choice to do that. But some of them are really cute.
Yeah, so no, they are cute, and I think it's more so for the parents, because like, okay, they want to dress up their kids.
Stop
like,
using your babies for clout.
But yeah.
Just stop. But they are.
Yeah, actually, I've repped a couple of child influencers in the past. It's
It's scary.
It's very interesting.
It's
Very
to me, it's
interesting.
scary.
Yeah.
But and it's how do we separate the real from the fake?
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean to be an influencer? What does it really mean?
Yeah. Well, a thing that was pointed out in the doc that I found interesting is like a lot of these influencers portray a luxurious lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
They create these posts and say, oh, I'm on this beach, or I'm in this vacation, or I got this box and this is amazing and whatever. But in reality, they're
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about one part where they had the girl stand in front of the TV and they took the toilet seat.
yes, and made it look like she was on a plane.
They made it look like
traveling.
she was on a plane with a cocktail in her hand, like she was in first class.
So this is a trick. If you take a toilet seat and put it up to like, a lit destination or like a landscape, it literally looks like an airplane. Like you're looking out the window of a plane. And all you needed was a toilet seat. And they're holding a glass of champagne. I was like, what?
It's crazy.
What?
Crazy.
And so that's where the lengths that some people go to portray a life that is way more lavish. I used to date one. Portray a life that is way more lavish than what it was. I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen this in person.
Right.
I've seen this in person. And that's where I think we get into waters that are a bit dark and dangerous.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Which we spoke about on the show.
Yeah. Because it's at that point, it gets really easy for people to compare themselves. I know I've been here. I'm like, man, they are lit. They're doing this on social media. I'm like, am I doing enough? Is my life that cool and grandeur? And I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute. No, my life is good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm thinking this, a whole bunch of people, very young and impressionable people, much younger than me, are probably thinking this too. And I think that's what's diving into the mental wellness of things.
Niche, have you ever dealt with the imposter syndrome or feeling, at a certain point like, oh man, I don't have enough followers, or oh man, I really want to hit 1 million, or have you ever dealt with that? And then how did you check yourself, if so, and kind of get out of it and maintain your consistency?
I feel like I've had moments like that, like, to be real, like, and I feel like they've happened a little while, like a couple years ago, probably. But I just, like I said again, like, if you're like just really in your own lane and you're really focused on your own thing, like, that stuff doesn't really bother you.
Right.
And then you just get to a point, like anybody or whatever your goal is, you always want more. Because I'm like, hit that 1 million.
Yeah.
But once you get there, you're going to be like, all right, what's next? You got to go somewhere. You can only keep going up. So when people, like, I feel like for people, 1 million is like, it's a goal.
Yeah.
But once you hit it, you're going to be like, all right, now I need. Okay. So like, there's always something to climb for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I have multiple avenues, and that's just not my one main focus.
Right. And clearly you have your people here. I was going to say, well, who are your people, or what do you feel kind of keeps you in line or keeps you in that point where you can just focus on that and not get caught up in the imposter syndrome or the glitz or the glam, or you just feel like you just kind of built up your own tolerance for it?
Well, I feel like it's your friend group too. Like, I feel like the people I hang out with, like, I will, like, Josh probably thinks I'm joking half the time. Even Alvinus, the way he be dressing, I'd be like, oh, you posted this. Send it over here. Period. Give it to me. It's my turn. Like, I'm dead ass, y'all. Like, we need to stick together. Okay?
Right.
We're a family. We're a tribe. We gotta rotate. But having the people around me that I have, and everybody is a creator. Like, when I was at the house, like, Chanel does modeling. Like, you do PR and radio and everything under the sun, and everybody in the house did something different. So we were always, like Josh said, like, when I first got here, he was in all my stuff because we just use each other for stuff. Like, he's like, Anisha, come through tonight. Like, I'm here. Like, you support each other. And I also feel that's what helps your empire grow and build. And maybe you're not a one-man show anymore. Like, I just recently started literally working with Josh. Like, we are in business.
She hired me, y'all.
I hired, like, there's money involved. Like, we're real grown-up friends.
Yeah.
With business plans. Like, and you have to do that. Like, you have to just, speaking of, like, the imposter thing, you have to give credit where credit's due, and you have to.
I love that.
And you have to put forward when you should be, and you can, especially because a lot of people don't. And like the imposters or if somebody just wants to hire somebody to do something
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to give them what they need, but then it's like people got fake followers. Who do we believe anymore?
Right.
I'm nervous now.
Definitely. I'm glad that you brought that up. So what y'all working on?
Who?
Y'all
Oh, what we're
working-
work. I mean, well, there's one really exciting project. We can't talk about it yet, but there's one really exciting project that she and I are working on, and that will release before the year's over.
I'm excited.
But
Yeah, that one's pretty fun.
yeah.
And then we have the college one though. We can
Oh
talk
yeah,
about-
we can talk about that. So it's NIL, not something. Your likeness. What's it called?
Um,
I'm gonna need the pitch deck. Okay. I'm gonna need
Not
the
the-
deck on my decks tomorrow.
Not the pitch deck. Name, image, and likeness 101, which is
Okay.
it's a program created by Accelerate Sports Ventures, NIL 360 EDU, and it's basically, so it was a podcast initially,
Mhm.
and I booked Anisha to be on this podcast, and so what ended up happening was it was a series of podcasts, and they took their 6 best podcasts and turned it into coursework.
Oh.
So like they basically took her interview and broke it down into series, and people can subscribe in just
nice.
like a week or two. They'll be able to subscribe, and it'll kind of be like a master class. So hers was about being an influencer, but owning your brand and learning how to utilize yourself as a brand, and what she's done to build that.
Well, then I want to ask Nish, how do you own your brand? Give us the cliff notes.
It's just I just feel like I said, like the things I do day to day
Mhm.
are the things I've just placed into categories for myself.
Okay.
And to just kind of keep those things in rotation. For me personally, I don't like to see the same thing. I get very bored. So if I feel like I'm posting consistent, like maybe like one thing, it's kind of like I'll kind of get bored looking at that. And I'm like, if I'm bored, my audience is bored.
Mhm.
I need to switch it up.
Mhm.
So I just categorize myself into fitness, dance, stunts, skits, and just kind of just random. And I just call the other ones just random. Like
Mhm.
just like one time I decided to make videos of me smashing things in slow motion, and this is just because I wanted to.
I liked that. Actually.
Thank you. Like it's just like I just
gotta
wanted
go
to do
that.
it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I went to Goodwill. I just bought random stuff, and I was doing things like that. But I just try to keep those 5 categories, and I try to
Good.
like drop at least one different thing during the week
Good.
to keep it fresh and keep it different. But that's just how I like to run
Mhm.
my empire and how I'm building things.
I usually ask directors this when I interview them at like film festivals and stuff. There's a term called message testing when you're creating films and doing, you're a director and you're trying to figure out, what type of script you're going to do. But I think it's also applicable to influencers and content creators. And message testing means you kind of figure out what your audience wants before you start creating the content. So do you think you do that, or do you think I rather just put out what I think I want to see and be authentic and be dope at it? Or do you kind of do a mixture of both?
I kind of do a mixture of both, because sometimes there are some things I don't want to put out, and I'm like, damn, why does everybody like this shit so much? But I still am true to myself, and I will still put, like, perfect example. I'm a dancer first. The big head that I created came after.
Hella funny.
I love it. But I'm like, at first I was like, oh, so nobody likes my dancing anymore? What are y'all trying to say? I get 20K on a dance video, but then one of these big heads gets 100K. Like, what the fuck? But then in my mind, I'm like, it's a beautiful thing. If that's why they're there, now I'm going to do more dance videos.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're not as much, and when you look at it, you're like that. I'm like, I'm not getting as much, but I'm getting more than what I was getting before the big heads.
There you
and
go.
people still appreciate it. Nobody's like,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're hating,
Because you still have that, like, you have that core audience that knows you for that, and they
Right.
probably still appreciate
Yeah.
that content.
And it's just that new audience is like, oh my god, they're always
can
like,
dance
his mom.
too?
They're always like, his mom can dance. Look, his mom. Like, it's really
Not-
funny. His mom's dancing, guys. Like, it's really funny. So like I said, like that part, it's just more people to see another avenue that I do that they might have not came to the page for.
Got it.
And then people, I feel like, genuinely end up loving all of what I'm doing because it's just different and interesting and just changes every day.
Love it. Love it. That's dope. I gotta get in my stuff too. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about, without asking too much, because we ain't trying to be all up in your business. In regards to like sponsors and sponsorships, like have you genuinely enjoyed that process, or do you feel like is it work? You know, just how do you feel about it in general?
Well, I feel like just genuinely coming onto this platform and finding my niche and everything now is actually the time I started like, well, I need to capitalize on the things that are just out there and that are available to us as influencers. Like if you're building a brand, any brand needs something. Like, and I started off with my friends, and that's how we traded at first.
Yeah.
And then you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, now I need something outside of my pool. And then you start reaching. So that's actually why I hired Josh, and I have
a manager.
I have a manager as well with Uplift Management. It's
Nice.
social media management, and
Nice.
it's just a different window and a different element of things that can come in from an area that I'm unaware of. So right now I'm just in the process of learning that whole.
She still had her personal email in her bio after she got verified. And she was like, she gave me some pushback about it when I told her, you need to take that off. I said, Nish, you cannot be that accessible anymore. No, like you've reached the pinnacle now. Like you're verified. You've got like a whole bunch of followers. You can't have your email on there because it just
cannot be that accessible,
no,
honey.
You can't. You can't.
Like everything needs to say Niche Nation. Niche Nation. Niche Nation. You're messing up my flow. JP, what is this? I don't know. I can't. I don't know, Josh.
I love it. One thing I will say I do really appreciate about the rise of the influencer culture is that, you know, for so long, like even me when I was dancing back in the day, you know, I knew that dancers struggle so much. Actors struggle, you know, like comedians struggle, and through these platforms they've been able to monetize.
Yep.
They've been able to, you know, get their bag on their own recognizance, you know.
Like look
it's
at
beautiful.
the half the cast, if not more, of Wild 'N Out. They
you.
all came from social media.
Exactly.
Because they're like, I'm gonna be funny,
it.
and you're gonna follow me, and this, and now they're getting deals, they're hosting stuff. Like, you know, it's like when Hollywood wasn't giving them chances, they created their own.
Exactly.
And so in that aspect for creatives, it's been amazing for people to be able to capitalize on what they truly love to do and what they're really good at.
Yeah.
And I to that, like, I must say, man,
let's give it an applause.
Yeah.
Let's applaud all the influencers out there and all the blue check marks. You know, but I do want to just empower people to, like Nish said, like own your authenticity. Don't get caught up in the imposter syndrome. Be consistent with whatever it is that you do. Someone's going to appreciate it, and whatever your platform is meant to put out there, that is your platform, and people are going to gravitate it towards it naturally. If you want to get you some bots,
whatever, get what you need.
That's
we
your
ain't
prerogative.
stopping y'all.
Right. If you want to do that, hire me, and I'll walk you through it.
I saw when they said how much these bot companies make, I was like, well, maybe I should maybe I'm in the wrong
get into
business.
that business.
'Cause
Yes.
that was insane.
Yeah.
Small companies.
Yeah.
$3 to $5 million.
Yeah.
Small companies,
And
babies.
these, like, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, and I mean, this is something we've talked about within our creative group, is the fact that at the same time, yes, you know, influencers are getting their bag, but what happens when Instagram shuts down tomorrow? You know, what happens when Facebook is gone tomorrow?
That's
You
why
know,
I still got my day job.
Yeah.
so, you know, I think it's important for us to, I don't want to say have a plan B, have a plan C, but have a long-term plan.
Yeah.
And let's start, you know, putting our efforts and our energies into some of our own independent content distribution platforms.
Absolutely.
So that we can own our stuff. Because we already talk about the algorithm, honey.
Right.
You know, how the algorithm, you can't see things in linear motion. I know, you know, we've sent each other stuff about how to beat this algorithm and how to, you know, we can help each other by saving each other's
But ultimately,
posts.
we don't own any of that.
We don't own any of it.
And one piece of advice that I got from a good friend of mine and a former client, Ishmael Mayhew, over at Ish Content.
Shout out to Ish.
Yes. He told me, he was like, own something. He said, because at the end of the day, the social media stuff is not yours.
Yeah.
Have a website, have a domain name, own that, purchase that. When you purchase it, it is yours. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that there is always somewhere that people can go to where it's their resource for you. Because, you know, Instagram and Facebook, who knows, that can phase out. Like whatever your platform you're using now, make sure that at the end of the day, there's still something that anyone can go back to still find you. Because if you can put out your own content on your own things, something that you own, that's something that's worth a lot more in the long run.
Right. Don't believe us? Go to myspace.com.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this has just been a great conversation. I think we can talk about this so much more.
We could.
Niche, where can everyone find you? What do you have coming up that you can talk about?
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at Niche Nation. Just type in Niche Nation. TikTok, somebody got me. So Niche Nation 6 over there.
Oh.
But yeah, on all my platforms it says Niche Nation. I actually just booked a job last week, and I found out yesterday that I leave in 3 days for 6 months.
Oh.
I know. She
But
just
yay,
got here.
But yay.
No, yay, but it was so abrupt, and it was so just like, thank you. And it was very quick, and now I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I made it here with y'all tonight.
We are thankful.
It was an amazing time. Alina's game.
What's about to come out that you've been on or something that you can tell us?
Halle's movie that she actually directed and starred in.
Look how she just says
called
Halle.
Yeah. Halle Berry, for those of y'all who didn't know.
My girl. No, she's amazing. She started moving more into the light of directing and more avenues for herself. Just
Love
like
it.
like for all of us, like just watching her do that, I'm like, I can create more avenues. Like it's so inspiring to see. So it's a movie about a woman that did MMA, and now she's in her late 30s, I believe, and she cleans houses. She lost her son. She gets back into the game. She gets back into the game pretty much of MMA, and she holds it down. I think that should be coming out later on in the year.
Awesome.
And we just did a Netflix movie together as well, so that should be coming out probably the following year.
And then you were also on the final season of Black Lightning.
Oh yes, Black Lightning!
Yay!
Yeah, the final season of Black Lightning. That was amazing to be a part of. That whole Atlanta crew. That was my first time being in Atlanta for 6 months, and I was super nervous. But that whole squad of stunt guys, they were the best. And now I'm working with a different group, but I get to see that group, so
Nice.
excited about that.
Dope. So make sure you guys are following Niche Nation. Go see her dance videos and her big head videos and all of everything that she does. And please make sure you guys are following us too. You know, we want to get a blue check mark eventually.
Let's
so,
go.
you know, help
You
us
wanna-
out.
Let me tell y'all a funny story. I submitted my request for Twitter first, and they said, no, they denied my. I said, fine.
We're getting there.
We're
though,
getting
you
But
know?
no, the voice that you gave them, because you know that's how you read it. You're like, no, not right now. And it's
That's
okay.
what the email sounded like as I read it.
That's how you heard it.
Reluctantly so.
But please make sure you guys are following us on all of our platforms. Limelight Live on Instagram, Twitter. If we have a Twitter, I think we
Limelight
do.
Live show.
Limelight Live show. He has to remind me every time, but that's why you are here. Because you over here, you remind us of everything. Gotta make sure you guys have someone like J-Pin on your team. Okay, you will go far in life. Okay, and yeah, follow me at Shriek LeMay and
J-Pin notes.
And yeah, we love to hear it. And then, you know, like we said, everybody just maintain your mental health as we, you know, get through these tough couple of weeks. And we know COVID is a thing. I can't, you know, leave this episode without at least acknowledging that. And everybody just be safe and love one another.
Right.
Who says that? Jerry Springer?
I think so.
I don't know why that just came to my head.
I cannot. And on that, we're out. Bye, y'all.
Everybody.
down.